How we doing, guys? We're looking at text and test 4 here, page 86, 87, 88, 89. We're going to start off with question 2, which says write a polynomial expression for each of the following cubic graphs. So we've got a blue and a green graph here. They both cross the x-axis at -3, 0 and 2. That is to say they have roots x equals -3, x equals 0 and x equals 2. What distinguishes them then is that they have kind of different points here at x equals 1. One of them evaluates at -4, the other at -12. So let's have a look at how can we write out the polynomial. Well, both of them, we said, have roots at -3, at 0, and at 2. And our factor theorem then tells us that there must be a factor at x plus 3, a factor at just x, a factor of x, and a factor of x minus 2. Okay, so we can write the function as x plus 3 times x minus 2, all multiplied by some other number a. Okay, so this is the thing. These are factors, but there may be another factor that is not a variable. It doesn't have an x in it, just like a 2 or a 5 or a 7 or some whole number. So knowing that, we can say, well, we know that for the blue curve, the blue curve has a minimum point, or sorry, this point at 1 minus 12. So we can say 1 minus 12 is on that curve, so f of 1 equals -12. So we can come along and say, well then, -12 equals a times 1 plus 3 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 minus 2. -12 is a multiplied by 4 times 1 times -1. That's -4. So that'll give us a equals 3 for the blue curve. And therefore our function is 3 times x plus 3 by x minus 2. Okay, I'm running out of space a little bit here, but for the green curve, we know we have the point 1 minus 4. So that means if you plug in -4 in, f of, 1, will be -4. So we say -4 is a times 1 plus 3 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 minus 2, which we've just worked out up here is -4. So sorry, I'm running a little bit low here on space. -4 equals a times -4. So a has to be 1 there. So the green curve is given by 1 times x plus 3 times x minus 2. Now if you wanted to multiply that out, you could do that as well. You'd say, let's see, x, everything's multiplied by x. So x by x by x, that's x cubed. X by 3 by x is 3x. X by -2 by x is -2x. -3 by 2 by x is -6x. These are squared, excuse me. So if you multiply that all out, and you can do that yourself in a little bit more detail if you're not sure what I just did, you get x cubed plus x minus 6x. And the only difference between that for the green curve and the blue curve up here would be you'd multiply it all by 3. So that'd be 3x cubed plus 3x minus 6x. 3x squared, excuse me. Now question 3 tells us that the graph of this function, ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d, crosses the x-axis at 1, -2, and a half, and it crosses the y-axis at the point 0, 6. Find the coefficients of a, b, c, and d. Okay, well, we know it's a cubic, so that means it has 3 factors and therefore 3 roots. We're told in the question that the roots are 1, -2, and a half. So the factors must be x minus 1, x plus 2, and x minus a half. Okay, and then we can say, well, the function must be a times some constant times x minus 1 times x plus 2 times x minus a half. Okay, and we also know the y-intercept is at 0, 6. So 0, 6 is a point on it. F of 0 will equal 6. So 6 equals a times 0 minus 1 times 0 plus 2 times 0 minus a half. Or 6 equals a times minus 1 times 2 is minus 2 multiplied by minus a half is plus 1. So a equals 6. So what is our function here? It is 6 times x minus 1 times x plus 2 times x minus a half. Now, multiplying that out so we can work out, because we want it in ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d form to work out the values of a, b, c, and d. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to multiply these two terms together first. And that's going to be x by x is x squared minus x plus 2x, x by 2, and minus 1 by 2 is minus 2. And at the same time, I'm going to multiply 6 by this. So that's going to be 6x minus 3. Okay, so we've got ourselves x squared plus 1x minus 2 multiplied by 6x minus 3. That's just putting these two terms together. And multiplying out, we're going to say 6x by x squared is 6x cubed plus 6x squared minus 12x. And then multiplying minus 3 by all these things, we get minus 3x squared minus 3x plus 6. So we get 6x cubed. 6x squared minus 3x squared is plus 3x squared. Minus 12x minus 3x is minus 15x plus 6. So a is 6, b is 3, c is minus 15, and d is 6. In question 4 that I'm going to be asking you to do for homework, very, very similar question, but they've already given you the factors. So there's no need to do, you could work backwards to find the roots, but it's the factors that you multiply together to find the function. And lastly, question 7. Given f of x equals x plus 2 times x minus 1 times x minus 3, find the values of f of 0, f of a half, and f of 2, and hence draw a rough sketch, a rough sketch of the curve. Okay, well, here's our function. F of 0 is 0 plus 2 times 0 minus 1 times 0 minus 3. And that is going to be 2 times minus 1 times minus 3. Minus 1 times minus 3 is plus 3. By 2 is 6. So that gives us 0, 6 is one of our coordinates. Plug in a half, we're going to get a half plus 2 multiplied by a half minus 1 multiplied by a half minus 3. That's going to be 2.5 multiplied by minus 0.5 multiplied by minus 2.5. I'm just going to do that on my calculator. Not on that, because I can't find it. Okay, so that's that 5 over 2 by 5 over 2 is 25 over 4 multiplied by 1 over 2 is 25 over 8, and it's minus by minus. So that's plus 25 over 8, which is 3 and 1/8. F of 2 is 2 plus 2 multiplied by 2 minus 1 multiplied by 2 minus 3. Sorry, I meant to come back here. That gives us the coordinate 1/2, comma 3 and 1/8. And this gives us 4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by minus 1 is minus 4. So it gives us 2 minus 4. So these are all coordinates, but as well as these three coordinates, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's go up in 2, 4, 6. Let's call that 6. 4, 2, minus 2, minus 4, minus 6. So 0, 6, there's a point. 1/2 and 3 and 1/8 is going to be up there somewhere. 2 and minus 4 is down here. We also know that it crosses the x-axis at the roots, which are x equals minus 2, x equals 1, and x equals 3. So minus 2, 1, and 3. So here's what our curve is going to look like. Roughly, they're only looking for a sketch. It's going to cross here at 6. It's going to drop back down here and turn again like that. It might actually go a little bit more up here. Okay, but what they're interested in really is those critical points, the ones they asked you to find. 1, 2, 3 points they asked you to find, and the 3 roots. Okay, so based on that, I'm going to ask you to do questions 1, 4, and 8 now. 1, 4, and 6 now. And in class tomorrow, we're going to do questions 8 to 16. That is, finish the exercise.